Welcome to the LLBLGen Pro QuickStart videos. In this video, I'll show you how to get source code starting with an existing database in 4 easy steps. This is called Database First. First, I'll create a new project and import relational model data into it from an existing database. Then, I'll reverse engineer an entity model from the imported relational model data. After that, I'll generate source code from the created entity model, and I'll conclude with using the generated code in a simple .NET application. Let's start with the first step, creating a project. This is the LLBLGen Pro Designer. To create a project, click the New Project button. I give the project a name, specify the creator and the location to save the project file. Then I choose the ORM to use for this project. You can switch to another anytime later on if you want. As initial contents, I'll choose the Database First choice, relational model data from a database. When the project is created, based on the choice I just made, the relational model data retrieval wizard pops up. I'll be targeting SQL Server, so I pick the SQL Server driver. I specify the connection parameters to let the designer connect to the database server. This is a live view of the relational model data available on the connected server. I'll be using the Northwind database, so I expand that node. I mark all elements I want to import. And I mark all stored procedures to be checked for result sets and complete the wizard. The designer will now import all relational model data of all elements selected from the database server and store this data locally in the project. You can view what's imported in the Catalog Explorer. The relational model data is contained in the project, so no connection with the database server is needed anymore. Let's go to step 2. In this step, I'll reverse engineer an entity model from the relational model data imported into the project. Let's see how to do that. Before reverse engineering entities, it's recommended to inspect the project settings to see whether they match your requirements. There are many settings influencing the outcome of the reverse engineering process. To reverse engineer an entity model, you have various choices. Use the feature hints. Use one of the suggestions from the model analysis. Or right-click one of the elements in the Catalog Explorer and select the option from the context menu. You can also right-click the Entities node in the Project Explorer and select the option from its context menu. Let's pick that one. Here, all elements to create are shown. You can rename the elements if you want and assign them to a group. The designer has now created the entity model for us. Let's take a look at the customer entity in the editor. This is the Fields tab, showing the fields in the entity. The Mappings tab, with per field the target field mapping. Here you can also select the allowed actions for the entity to, for example, make an entity read-only. You can select and change the map table for this entity here as well, and look it up quickly in the Catalog Explorer. We're now ready to generate code. On to step 3. Now that we have an entity model, it's time to generate code so we can use it in our application. The following step shows how to do that. Select Generate Source Code from the Project menu or press F7. The first time you generate code in a project, you have to configure the process. Let's do that by editing the task. We'll accept the defaults for this project and specify the destination folder for the generated code. It will be created automatically. Now that the task is configured, we can start it to generate our source code. An extensive log has been produced to tell you what files have been created. Let's have a look at these generated files. I'm going to use these in our .NET application in the final step. We'll create a simple command line application called Console App. This application will perform a simple query on the database, count the total number of customers using LINQ. Let's see how that's done. Here we are in Visual Studio with our solution containing 3 projects, our 2 generated projects and Console App. Let's define the references for Console App. We don't need to do this for the generated code. If you want, you can obtain the runtime libraries from NuGet, but it's not required. To be able to connect to the database server, Console App needs a connection string. Let's copy it from the generated app.config file. Now that Console App is all set up, we can write the query code. Let's compile our work and run it. And here are the results we were after. This concludes our QuickStart video. Thanks for watching.